This is Andy with QualityStocks. Today's Thursday, May 5th, 2011, and today we're going to revisit 3D Icon. This is a NASDAQ Bulletin Board company trading under ticker TDCP. I scaled this into a 5-month chart. This was where it was trending sideways through here. Made a nice breakout. Again, trended sideways, made another nice breakout. Chart's been taking on a bearish mentality since breaching a dime. Slipping backwards, closed yesterday at 3 cents. Just want to take a look at this chart from a couple different levels. Obviously, we're going to see a whole lot of bearishness going on since the chart's been trending downward. Obviously, the MACD is in a pretty firm downtrend. Pull that off, because what you're going to look for at this point is see if this is going to try and make some sort of higher low with the histogram. Give some early indications of a possible reversal. Worst case scenario, see if it's going to flatline and hold this same bottom level. Similar sort of mentality you're going to be looking for with the PPO. Going to want to try and see this histogram start to tighten up a little bit, hold the baseline, and see if it's going to put together some sort of twist back towards the signal line and start to try and trend back towards zero. The ADX shows that the uptrend has lost its steam, been downtrending, now starting to flatline. That can mean a couple different things. Either it's going to twist and turn and start to add some real strength to a downtrend, or we're going to see this positive DI start to move upward and possibly see a reversal with the negative DI turning down as well. Right now it's relatively neutral, but certainly leaning towards the bearish side. And it's something to keep an eye on here in the future to watch what this ADX does, see if it starts to curl upward, see if the positive DI is going to follow behind it. Money flow indicator, of course, broken into bear chart territory, holding below 50. 14 and 21, still not too far away from it. Of course, they're lagging. They have plenty more days to factor back in. So we're going to see if this 7 is going to start to turn back upward. Interesting thing to note with the accumulation distribution. Trend line's been broken, but still could try and make a higher high. So you're going to look for that to see if it's going to get any buying pressure to reverse course of it. Same with Chaikin and money flow, holding around zero, relatively neutral, but selling pressure starting to take control. CCI broken through negative 100, of course, very bearish, but starting to get to some lower levels now, below negative 200 now at this point, but starting to reach some pretty oversold levels. Full STO moved down into oversold territory. Again, we know not to put a ton of faith into that because it can trend down and oversold for a long period of time. Point being, it is reaching oversold levels. And the tricks, which you always hope for on these sort of things, is to hold right around zero and make its rotation. This is a very slow, smooth indicator. It's certainly not going to be able to hold zero at this point, but you will start to look for it in the near future to try and flatten itself out and roll. So obviously the indicators are taking on a very bearish look. A lot of selling from up here at 8 cents when this thing's down here to 3 cents, lost quite a bit of its value. The RSIs as well moving into oversold territory. Basic channel is downward. And I think all those things are to be expected, obviously. There's been a lot of red days. And of course, they're going to take all the indicators and turn them south. What I think is interesting to note about this chart is where is this chart possibly going to find a bottom and find some support? I'd look for that a couple different ways. I'd look to see if it's going to establish this channel and see if it's going to hold a trend line or not. Of course, you get a very bottom support. You certainly would hope it would hold the 200-day moving average. But first and foremost, I'd be looking for the channel, and then I'd be looking for some static support levels. Now, it is going to pull a little bit there at 3 cents. This is one reason I want to do this chart, to see how it performs today, see if this support level is going to hold. If that doesn't hold, it does pick up a little bit more at 2.5, but much stronger support doesn't come in until down here just over the 2 cent mark. See, that was the breakout point. You could put that in there certainly as a little bit of an area from 2.3 down to 2.1, and even if you wanted to go all the way to 18 cents. Of course, that's going to be your true bottom support, holding this 200-day moving average. Now, I never try and look at that sort of movement, either upward or downward, is something that I look for today. But the way I look at the technicals on this is seeing if it's going to hold that trend line, which is going to tie in with a little bit of support. And if that can't hold, where can it possibly go from there? As I mentioned, look for that 2.1 area, perhaps even see if it holds 2.6. What this TDCP chart is going to have to do at this point is trying to find a new support level. It's recently been falling through support levels that it was trying to establish with the uptrend. For instance, right there around 5 cents, even a little bit more stability came in there right around 4.5 cents. And the 50-day moving average. Falling through that was pretty bearish. It's a good technical analysis example of what happens when a support level and a 50-day moving average falls, because this was holding around 4.5, falling through that, drops all the way to 3 cents. So right now it's actually trying to sit on a new support level. It'll be interesting to see if it's going to hold and try and establish this and try and put together some sort of possible upward movement. Of course, now classic TA, it has to come up here and challenge this old support level, which is now resistance. So with any sort of upward movement, look for that 4.5 cent level to become pretty difficult for it from a resistance standpoint. But most importantly, what I'm looking at with the 3D icon chart is where is it going to define a new support level after this big climb? Is it going to try and draw upon what you call a secondary support level and establish that with some strength? Or is it going to dip all the way down to a strong support level? And that's where it possibly might try and climb again. So I'll be throwing TDCP back up on the watch list due to the fact that it is reaching some oversold levels, and it's kind of hitting some key levels at this point. It's going to help define the strength of this chart. Overall, very interesting chart, good example of technical analysis, and I thought I'd share my thoughts on it. As always, merely my interpretation of the TDCP chart. This is Andy with QualityStocks. Thank you for watching, and trade smart.